Hey everyone, in this lecture we're going to be covering the top toolbar and all the little elements in it pertaining to our artboard and everything on our artboard that will be affected by these tools. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Now we first talked about in our introduction the insert tool, so we don't need to really cover that. But what we have next is the group tool and ungroup tool. So I have a couple shapes on my artboard and I'm going to go ahead and select the first two by just click and dragging over them. Now, as soon as I do that, the group tool has been selected. If I click it, it's going to group my shapes into a folder. Now, you've seen me do this before, probably in a past lecture, with the hotkey command, Command G, and that is the quick way to do it if you do not want to use the clicking tools up here. Now, if you want to ungroup it, you just click Ungroup, and you can go ahead and ungroup them. I believe you can also do it from your top toolbar up here or your drop downs and search group. It's under arrange group layers. So there's another way to do it if you just want to do it that way. If you want to ungroup them, you can go ahead and click arrange ungroup layers and it does the exact same thing. Next on the toolbar is the create symbols tool. And I'm not going to talk about that in this lecture because I'm going to leave that for its own section. So we'll be talking about the symbol tool in its own section. There's a lot of cool things about it. Next, what we have on here is the zoom tool. Very, very straightforward to zoom. You just click the plus. To zoom out, you click the minus. If you want to do it with your hotkey, you hit the command plus key or the command minus key. Something, again, that has carried over from Photoshop and Illustrator as the similarities and differences. Next, we have the editing tool. In this case, we have a shape. So if we want to edit this particular shape, we can click it, and it's going to give us anchor points that we can choose to edit. I can click and drag, and I can edit this shape however I feel. If I want to make it rounded, I can do so. If I want to disconnect it, I can do so. If I want to make it asymmetrical, same thing. And I can choose the roundness of the pixels, whether I want them to half pixels or full pixels. And I can either open the path or I can say finish editing and keep it as is. So that's the editing tool. Next is the transformation tool. The transformation tool, pretty much as it says down here, it skews or gives the current selection a perspective look. So basically you're skewing the image and you're giving it perspective. So I'm skewing it and I'm moving it forward towards me in perspective. So if I want to get the illusion that it's coming towards me, I can do that. Or if I want to get the illusion that it's moving back in space, I can do that. Forward and down in space in this case. So there's a lot of different ways that you can skew this by selecting each different anchor. As you can see, I'm moving this around a lot. I'm making it tighter. And I'm moving it up and down. So there's different ways to skew it if you wish. Next, we have the rotate tool. Rotate's very simple. You can either rotate it completely, or if you hold the shift key and rotate it, it rotates, I believe, every 15 or 25 points. I believe it's 15. So you can do that, which is really great. And then next is the flatten tool. If you want to flatten an image, I'll talk about that actually when we get to these sections here. It'll be more beneficial to understand them when I use these. Alright, next we have the mask tool. Mask tool is really, really easy to understand. I'm going to go ahead and drag a image on here from my desktop. I'm going to grab this little stag and put it here. Now I'm going to say I want this stag in this image. I'm going to go ahead and select both, putting the stag on top, clicking mask, and now the image of the stag is in the shape. If I wanted to click on the actual mask or shape, it already created a folder for me. I can go ahead and resize this up and down if I wish. Or if I want to select the stag image, I can go ahead and open the folder and select it. Or by holding the command key and clicking within, I can do that as well. If I want to edit the mask, I just click the mask and I can make it bigger or smaller. Or I can edit it by clicking this edit icon up here as we just talked about and moving specific elements to edit the actual mask. By editing the mask, you're not doing anything to the image, you're just editing the mask that the image is housed in. Alright, so next we have our union subtract, we have our scale tool. Scale tool is really easy to understand. Basically, you're just making stuff bigger or smaller. Right now it defaulted at 100%, so if I want to make it 50% bigger, I hit 150 and it makes it bigger. If I want to make it smaller, if I go back to my 100, it'll go back to 100, but if I want to go smaller than that, I can say 75 and it will go smaller, such as 75 or maybe 50% or even as small as 10%. Go back up to 100, and as you do this, it will adjust the width and height automatically. Alright, so now that that is done, let's go ahead and talk about the union, subtract, intersect, and difference tool. Now, the union tool, when I click union, it's going to combine the two images. Now, this is a non-destructive way to do this. By clicking on union, you've created a group, and in your layers, you'll see a group section. If you click on the arrow, it drops down, and you have the two shapes that are still selectable. So I can click the polygon tool, and shape, and move it, and then I'll have a new combined shape. Now, when I was saying about the flattening icon up here, or the flatten icon, I should say, if I find a selection that I like, or a shape that I like, I can go ahead and select the combined shape and hit flatten, and now the shape has been combined. I cannot move any individual elements within that shape. Next, we have the subtract tool. Anything that you want to subtract from another shape, for example, I want this top shape to subtract out of the star. So when I go ahead and hit subtract, the top pointy part of it has subtracted out of the star, and again, it is non-destructive, so if I don't like that, I can go ahead and move the shape if I wish. And create something a little bit more different. And if I want to flatten it, I can hit flatten, and now I have an interesting shape. Next, we have the intersecting one. This takes the two intersecting sections of the two shapes and makes a new shape. So in this case, down here we have a new shape, and again, as I said, if I don't like that, I can go ahead and click on it and move it to have something a little bit more different. And if I want to flatten it, I can go ahead and click flatten. Finally, we have difference. Difference is really straightforward. You just click it, and it will subtract the difference of the back image onto the front image. And again, as I've said, if you don't like it, you can always click and move it around to get the type of final result that you would like. If I go ahead and flatten this, I'm going to get a little pop-up saying the shapes you're trying to flatten require more than subpath to render properly. Or sure you want to flatten, just click flatten. You're fine. And there you have it. You have all these images or shapes that you've created. So it's really cool tools to use. You can make really interesting shapes. Next, you have the forward and backwards tool. So now that we've created all of our shapes, let's flatten that. Okay, so now that we've created all of our shapes, we can go ahead and move them forward and back in our layers panel. So if we hit back, it just shifts it back. If we hit forward, it shifts it forward. Really straightforward. You could just do it by clicking and dragging. All it is rearranging your layers by just selecting them on the canvas. And then the back, obviously, as we just said, it just moves it back. We've talked about view, and we'll talk about export in a second, but let's talk about mirror really quickly. Now, I've connected my phone to the actual Sketch Mirror app. It is free to download on the App Store, but when you download it and you select it, as you can see over here, everything I've done on my canvas, I can see on my phone. This is a great tool to use if you want to actually see, let's say, apps that you've created within the actual program and see how they look on your phone. So it's a great way to do that if you want to see in terms of sizing and things like that pertaining to your thumb size and all those types of elements. You can do it with an Apple iPad as well. I'm not sure about Android devices. Okay, so we talked about the view tool. Very, very straightforward. When we talked about that, you can change your rulers, show them, hide them, show pixels, show grids, show layouts, things like that. So that's very, very straightforward. Now when I said show pixels, as you can see, this is a rasterized image. If I click show pixels, it'll make it pixelated if I want to see what it looks like pixelated. And now if we want to export, I say makes it exportable down here, but we can hit export up here and it will export the entire board with all the elements on it. And there you have it. That is the top toolbar. Hopefully that's not been too much to take in. Really cool features, especially this mirror feature. Download the app for free. You can do it for free on the App Store. You can share this via Safari, Mail, Twitter if you want to show someone your designs. Or you can also send them a link to this artboard and people can connect via the web. So there you have it. That is the top toolbar. I think we covered all the toolbars now, and I think we're really going to dive in and get to learn Sketch more in depth and more advanced now. We will be covering the Create Symbol section in its own individual lectures, so we'll be going more in depth on that. Alright, so more to come. I'll see you guys in the next one.